Welcome to Learning Spanish with Mr. A. Today we are going to talk about the reflexive verbs. Reflexive verbs, they imply the reflection of the action, okay? Sort of like you're looking at yourself in the mirror and oh man, this is it, right? And I'm just joking about this, but really that's kind of the idea, see? And how do you emphasize the reflection of the action in Spanish? Well, by using a reflexive pronoun, okay? So here you have a list of reflexive pronouns that you must know by heart, right? Repeat after me. Me, te, se, nos, os, se. Well, they are going to translate in English as myself for me, yourself for te, right? Himself, herself for se. Gender neutral here. Kind of cool, isn't it? Well, this is Spanish, all right? We'll take it easy out there. All right, then you go into the plural. Ourselves will be nos, yourselves will be os, themselves will be se. Now, a verb is going to be reflexive when you see se attached to the infinitive. See, afeitarse, to shave, dormirse, to fall asleep. You see, and whenever you see the se showing up at the end of the infinitive, it tells you that you're going to have to be very careful, move it to the front. But you're going to have to use the right reflexive pronoun that will match the subject you're with. Afeitarse means to shave, yeah? So if you want to say you shave every morning, yeah? You're going to say te, second singular, the you form, right? Second singular. Te afeitas cada mañana. You see? All right, so what's happening here, you have an AR verb, you're used to that. You conjugate the AR verb in the simple present tense. In the second singular, which is where you're at when you say you shave, I take off the AR, replace with the AS, and then don't forget to place the reflexive pronoun that matches the subject right before the verb. So in English, it's going to translate as you shave. In Spanish, it's going to be te afeitas. This is how it works, all right? You must not let the se added onto the infinitive bother you. This is a game. Learn the rules and then apply them. If you see the se showing up here, it could be attached to an IL verb. It could be attached to an ER verb, okay? Because you know in Spanish you have three different types of infinitives. You have the AR verbs, ER verbs, and IL verbs. Well, any one of them can be reflexive. So this is up to you now to remember the endings that relate to that infinitive in whichever tense you're in. Three infinitives to deal with, all right? And then you relate the endings from whichever tense you're dealing with to those infinitives. We happen to be in the present tense here with the AR verbs. Just for the record, you may want to go back to my other videos, the ones that talk about the simple present tense, and see what happens with the AR, ER, and IL verbs. See, because what we're doing here, we're adding on bricks, okay? Step by step, we're building up a nice house here, you see? So it's crucial that you understand what happens to the AR, ER, and IL verbs in the present tense, okay? Before you can actually get to the reflexive verbs, all right? So that said, all right, you know, what I wrote down here is a few points that I want you to remember. The reflexive verbs can be AR, ER, or IL verbs, any one of the three. The reflexive verbs can also be stem-changing verbs. What's that? Go back to my video about the stem-changing verb. A stem-changing verb is a verb that has a change within the stem. It has a change within the stem. You want to find out what the change happens? Take a verb like repetir. Count the number of syllables that you've got. Repetir. 1, 2, 3. Go to the second to the end. All right? The second to the one before the last one. Okay, second to the last. All right? So that's going to be pe, repetir. And understanding that here you already have, you know, a stem change that goes from A to I. Then you replace the E with the I. Repito. You see? All right, so again, go back to those videos and review the concept. That might help you a great deal. So, a reflexive verb can also be a stem-changing verb. Yes, indeed. Right? Now, and I told you that at the start of this video, the reflexive verbs are always used with the reflexive pronoun. So you have to remember those pronouns, okay? And you will place them before the conjugated verb every time, okay? Now let's say you're in the third singular and you want to say, I don't know, let's say you want to say, okay, she falls asleep late every night. She. Well, if you say, now you know to fall asleep is dormir, say, right? So you know it's reflexive because the end of the SE, right? That's the IR verb. Relate to the IR endings in the simple present tense. O, S, A, imos, is, N. Go back to that video. Well, you're saying she though. The reflexive pronoun is not enough to display the gender of the subject. So at this particular point, you have to use the subject pronoun. Ella. Ella se duerme tarde cada noche. You see? It's magical. You can still use the subject pronouns here, but you've got to have the reflexive pronouns right before the verb. Why? Because this is how it goes with reflexive verbs. Okay? All right. Well, thank you for watching this video, and I'll be more than happy to see you in my next instructional videos. Hasta luego.